This is the Torg Eternity Delphi Council Debriefings, where the storm has a name. We are your hosts, Jay and Leamon, and today we are getting back to Unhallowed Data. We're going to start in Act 3, the Calais run, I guess is how you pronounce that. Again, French
Yep.
is the worst of my European languages. Um, but before we get into that, we do want to say that you can email us at torgdcd@gmail.com and you can ask us questions and comments, etc. And we will read those and answer questions and comment back on your comments. But we didn't have anything for today email wise, so we're going to jump right into Act 3. Um, this is a 5-scene act. Again, it takes place in Calais, which is a mixed zone between Isle and cyberpapacy, which is pretty cool. The mega adventures usually are kind of like an overview of the different types of themes in the realm and the reality, and this is the one that hits the mixed zone. So while you're in the mixed zone, remember it's the highest of the two axioms. So your magic is 24, your social is 18, your spirit is 18, and your tech is 26. So even though social is a little bit lower, it's understandable. Spirits is pretty high. Tech is the highest, and magic is also the highest. So uh, less possible disconnecting if you're uh, doing those two things. So scene one is of castles and kings, which let's do a recap of the end of the last act. Was through some means the Storm Knights have found that I believe it was the demons were being transferred from Calais to the Abbey
To the
that
Abbey, yeah.
that they had found out, so they're kind of tracing back steps. So they're going to Calais to see who's capturing these demons or why, and then, you know, because they're being sent into the cyber papacy. Um,
By this secret order of silent monks
right. That
that can't communicate what they're doing and to experiment and install holy cyberware into demons.
yes, which is big time heresy. Um,
Yes.
and the one like name they got was somebody has a username or a name of ghoul in leet speak.
Ew. Yeah.
So it's a 6H0UL, of course, and it's basically scene one is they're possibly figuring out that they need to go to this tenement in Calais. And again, they're in this environment that's both magical and technological. And there's kind of a gang war going on. So that's what the castles and kings is kind of a gang war that is going on, and the Storm Knights have to kind of maneuver around that. And then at least mine decided to go to the tenement house to interrogate Ghoul, and ended up he wasn't there, but they got attacked by some gangers, and then they were able to. I think it was his girlfriend or roommate or something. I think it was his girlfriend that they were
Yeah.
able to get some information of where he was. So, what was your thoughts of scene one, Castles and Kings, if you can
So
remember?
I think my players really enjoyed the whole idea of Calais. It kind of gives a slightly different vibe than the Cyber Papacy or Isle. It's kind of gets lets you have that Shadowrun feel,
Mm-hmm.
but not exactly because even though it's a mixed realm, characters there are still either Cyber Papacy or Isle, right? So individual characters will still act a certain way, but the reality allows for a lot. I did have some character change ups, which I totally forgot to update on my background, but Ithriel Sagewind retired. I don't know. She went off to go do something else. She had been through a lot already. I think she was also involved in Revenge of the Caradon, so
Mhm.
I think she had other things to do. But she got replaced with a Tharkold character named Ray, who was a psychic, I believe, and also I think I've been misattributing who was playing this dwarf. So the this character here was not here and was actually replaced, and this is where the adventure kind of we run into an interesting situation. So this character Carmen got replaced with a nodder.
Mhm.
So they had been noticing that they've been having trouble. No one really had computers, and they were having some issues at certain things. And like I said, they missed a ton of
Oh, right.
information earlier. So they made one player who is like one of the biggest min-maxer number crunchers, but he comes on it innocently.
Mhm.
Uh, Torg was actually the first RPG he ever played.
Oh, okay.
So and but he played a lot of World of Warcraft and other video games where min-maxing is what you're gonna do. So
Mhm.
he came at it this way. So basically, long story short, he had a computers of 20 before rolling. Is how this worked out. And in the long term, this completely busted open entire sections of the adventure, but it wasn't as important here. So that was a slight change to the party. They now had a super elite hacker
Mhm.
and they had a big burly psychic. So with that, they come into here and they find Calais and the Elven Consortium. I had a lot of fun explaining the elves with guns.
Mhm.
Um, I believe they still in the actual adventure, the elves actually have swords still, but I gave them guns
Mhm.
because I wanted to, sort of make it look a little bit different. And the Elven Consortium will come up again later. I really also enjoyed the whole concept, so I involved them again later in another adventure.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if we'll ever cover that, but for Demon Town, they were involved as well because it's in the same mixed zone. Because this mixed zone does go across the channel into England as well, but doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Calais. Anything here on the French side is obviously going to have a lot more cyber papal influence.
Mhm.
Although it does say that Jean Melro kind of looks the other way because they can't really enforce anything here, and it doesn't really generate that many possibilities because it's mixed zones. They just kind of let it lie there unless things get too crazy. So my players, one of them being a cyberpunk veteran, they pretty quickly did some streetwises and found out where Ghoul's apartment was. They saw the Skull Kings, so there's two gangs, and if you do enough streetwise, like there's a gang war coming. And again, cyberpunk veterans, so they're familiar with the concept of these gang wars. They saw the Skull Kings, which I believe are the ones that are the lurks. And it was basically like a personal affront to many of them that lurks were punks. So they basically just started trying to kill them. Like and they ran afoul of the Elven Consortium and basically had to bribe them and get out of it. And they were told they were going to be under surveillance, but then they eventually ditched and made their way. There was like this whole rigmarole,
Mhm.
eventually making their way to Ghoul's apartment, and they were on the lookout because they had been tipped by all this stuff and were paranoid about the surveillance. So they were on the lookout for trouble. The Nodder easily busted into Ghoul's computer and they talked to his girlfriend and found out he was at the Trash Can, which is, uh, a club or a bar.
Mhm.
The Crazors, the rival gang, attacks at that point, but because they were so ready for it, they ambushed them and just wiped them out without problems. And Ghoul's girlfriend, which I gave a name and but I don't remember what it was now. She was just like, "Get the hell out of here! I'm just gonna have to go into hiding. Tell Ghoul he's on his own."
And
And
I think it
she
was
took off.
Tricks.
Tricks. Okay, yeah. And yeah, so they they caused a bunch of social issues outside of the apartment, but once they got in there, it was kind of in and out. They were totally fine.
I uh, I had a different thing with the group that I ran, and I think that made such an impact in my head that I can't remember the one that I actually played in. Um, but yes, my party got there. They figured out, okay, Ghoul is in this place. We need to go question him. They went to his flat, got the information, and then they got ambushed. And I do
Ah,
want to
yeah.
say, in on page 37 of Unhallowed Data, it says that there are gangers, 5 per Storm Knights, and see page 107. 107, when you go and look at those stats, they're quite high for what they're supposed to be, in my opinion. So the ganger, each
Oh,
one has like 3 wounds, and they have armor of God, power swords. Um, they have various perks like bolster, various cyber arm, miracles. They have possibilities of common and then 5. So I would suggest looking at the Hospitaller on the next page
oh, I
and
remember
flipping the
this.
two.
They
Um,
actually just have the Inquisitor stats.
so if you play 5 of these per Storm Knight, these and again, my group, I have more people. I usually have 7 to 8 people playing. But when we did this, they were all alpha clearance, not beta. And for the rest of the adventure, except for this one scene, this one encounter combat, they were fine. Their number of players and the cards that they had and the possibilities total that they have offset them not being beta. These gangers, while the gangers didn't thrash them, it was a slog to get through.
Yeah, I
It
can
was
imagine with 3 wounds each.
right, and when you have 8 Storm Knights, that's 40
Yeah,
gangers with 3 wounds each. Um, you know, they have a 13 or 14, I think, with the melee weapons. Which is decent. It's not like out of this world, but the damage is 15 AP 2. They have a toughness of 14 because of their armor of God. It's just one of those where we it took so long we had to stop in the middle of the fight,
hmm
and then afterwards I reevaluated things, and that's when I flipped their stats with the Hospitaller, and because later on Hospitallers are less, but I wanted them to be more imposing. And then the next time they came in, and we're just like, oh man, this is, and then they like did it pretty fast, and we're
wiped
like,
them out. Yeah.
whoa, what happened? And I'm just like, I don't know. I guess you rolled better, type
Right.
thing.
I remember now when I was entering the stats and because I do it on roll 20, I was entering it all in and I was like, these are high. And then I was like looking at it and no, it's just a copy paste error from it's the exact Inquisitors
Hmm.
stats and weapons, not gangers.
Yes.
So I switched them out for the gangers from the Cyber Papacy book
Okay. Yeah.
instead of using those. So that's why my team had a much
You're
easier
saying.
time. But that is something. A few of those have snuck in. You got to watch sometimes.
Right.
And
So I did want to just notify game masters who haven't played that, when you get to this section,
yeah,
you might want to swap these stats in this book with other
Mhm.
other stat blocks because
I mean, I
it
wonder if just taking them down to no wounds would still
right
be all
do it.
right.
Hmm. So that's the main thing that I wanted to say. But yes, they learn that that Ghoul is at the trash can, like you said, a bar club type thing,
Oh,
and
sorry, the hellhole.
the
What
hell
the hell's the trash can?
I remember
Oh, the trash
reading.
can is his apartment.
Oh, that's the
Yeah, yeah.
tenement.
The
Okay.
hellhole is the and the hellhole makes a lot more sense for reasons we'll get into.
No, I you said trash can, and it says trash can, and I just read it and
Yeah,
like went
yeah.
along with what you said. But yes, the trash can is the tenement house area, and the hellhole is the place that they find out that Ghoul usually is. So then the Storm Knights will go into scene two into the fire at the hellhole, which makes sense of well, I guess you have trash cans on fire, but the hellhole into the fire makes a little more sense in many ways. Um, but they go there to it's a nightclub for gangers, and then it's kind of up to the players how they want their Storm Knights to operate. Do they want to go in and try to do some investigation first? Do they want to go in showing force? There's a VIP lounge on the upper floor that can only be accessed by chipped key cards. So again, are they trying to do this by force? Are they trying to do this by hacking? Are they trying to do this by, schmoozing their way in? What were your thoughts on Into the Fire?
I literally do not remember how they got in. Um, it might have been a nodding. Um, but I know they went into the club. I have the picture here that I picked, and they were enjoying it, and they did do some streetwise at the beginning to kind of know what's been going on here. I don't know if they, yeah, so they found out that it's run by someone named Morgana. That's really all they knew about it, and that it's used a lot of holograms. And then when they went in, I described it as being a much more like heavy metal, spiky thrash kind of
Mm-hmm.
place. And ironically, the Thargold character felt right at home. And there was also this is like the one-time introduction of ogres. Basically, like I've never seen them anywhere else in Torg. But mental note, there that's kind of neat to have like a nice, slightly tougher opponent. I don't think my group ended up fighting with anybody here though,
Mm.
but Ghoul did see them and figured out they were after him, so he bailed and we did have the chase. And I know I had the chase. I can't remember. They caught him. I just don't remember how they caught him. Because they don't have any vehicles or anything. But something happened. I'm sorry, but yeah, I can't remember how they caught him, but they did catch him. I think they might have requisitioned a car or something used with their special envoy status.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so they corner him, and naturally the Tharkold character has an incredibly high intimidation, and basically just forced him to explain everything. Like, so that he's the smuggler and he's basically delivering the cargo, which um, he doesn't know what they are. Just that it looks like some kind of large tube, which the players know would be the containment tubes that the demons were stuck in the lab that they encountered. And he picks them up at the consortium facility near the Hellmouth. And the Hellmouth is mentioned in the Cyber Papacy sourcebook is the Eurotunnel going from Calais to England, which is now literally hell and filled with demons. And it was sealed off. And apparently, the Elven Consortium somehow got the security contract to keep it safe. But he has been picking up containers of something from the Hellmouth and driving them to other locations in France, which they put two and two together and kind of figure that out.
Yes. So my group that I game mastered, I I'm pretty sure they had a fight with at least Nova, because that sounds familiar. Like they at first thought he was like really, really, tough and everything, but they ended up taking him out quite easily. I want to say that the ogre proved to be a little bit hardier, even though if you look at the stat blocks, um, it wouldn't necessarily suggest that there is that much difference. But again, whenever you roll dice, things can go completely different than how they might look. I believe they actually had people outside waiting in case anybody fled. So when Ghoul
Mm.
fled, they were able to capture him without the chase. And then he spilled the beans um, with the Elven consortium was doing, like you said, they were the ones that were guarding the Hellmouth. So then it kind of leads to now you go to their headquarters to find out what's going on, and that leads to the next scene. Um, so,
Double checking, I see it mentions what the club looks like in the Godnet,
mhm,
and I remember definitely that came up. So yeah, they definitely did the computers test to tap into all the security and just immediately knew where he was and bypassed a lot of stuff.
mhm,
And I don't remember exactly how it happened, but they did not fight Nova.
yeah.
Like they got them separated somehow.
But this is one of those. They're scattered throughout the different Torg Eternity adventures, but any type of nightclub bar scenario is fun. It gets back to your role
Yeah.
playing roots. So and it simulates so many movies and TV shows and such where you're trying to get information at the local bar or nightclub. So that is pretty cool. Um, so I think at this point the one of the things that happens at like I thought it happened at the end of the last scene, but it's like almost immediately after the end of the
Yeah, it's
last scene.
almost the same scene.
So scene 3 is the enemy of my enemy. Right after the Storm Knights find out about the Elven Consortium and figure out that we might want to go there and check things out. There's a drone that comes and projects an image of Morgana, who was the club owner, the Hello owner, and she kind of talks. And if you know anything, played any Torg, she's going to speak in a Russian accent, so you're going to assume that she's from Tharkold, because that's how the thing works. But she basically, asks why they were after him. Kind of tries to schmooze them to possibly be potential allies. Trying to be nice, and your Storm Knights, your players, can figure out if they're gonna make a deal with her or not. Um, but she does have information that she's willing to give. So they have 4 bullet points of information that if they do converse with her and are not just immediately, hey, no, we're not going to work with you. They get some good information. So what were your thoughts on mainly this is about Morgana. So
Yeah.
about her, about her offer to the Storm Knights. Did your Storm Knights go for it? Did they not? Anything like that?
Well, the whole obviously she's from Tharkold because she's speaking Russian happened. Also, the fact that the drone was a DGAM bogey
Mhm.
and we had a Tharkold character, so they immediately recognized it. So That was like obvious right away. But because there was a Thurgold character who was also an ex-thrall, they were a bit more sympathetic to what
Hmm.
she was saying and didn't really even assume she was lying about anything. Like they just took her at her word. So they agreed to. So she wanted them to take a chip and take it into the Elven Consortium corporate building, take it up and put it into their computers, and this would what she told them is it would decrypt it and get out all this secret information because the Elven Consortium has become corrupt and they're doing all these sketchy deals and everything. Like smuggling demons out, perhaps, things like that. And this can help it get out to the rest of the world. And in the adventure, it mentions something about the players could be like, hey, aren't you kind of sketchy too? You're like obviously if you own a cyberpunk bar, you're obviously sketchy kind of thing. But my players never said anything. They were like, fine, whatever. Like they were on board like immediately. So they took the information and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go do it and we'll see you later. So they just took off. It was a very quick scene, let's just say. I will say it has one of the coolest pictures, I
Yeah.
think.
Hmm.
Actually, in this act, it has some of the coolest pictures. We'll get to the cover later, I guess, but yeah, there's some good evocative material in here.
Yes. I want to say the party that I was the game master for, yeah, they just were, oh, okay, yeah, that's what you said. We believe 100% what you said. We're going to take this chip, we're going to put it in the computer, we're going to do all this cool stuff for you because the game master is having it's one of those where a lot of times tropes can get flipped on their head. And when a friendly NPC comes that actually gives them somewhat correct information, they can sprinkle in
Right.
some incorrect information, and the PCs can, so sometimes they will ignore it, and sometimes they'll just think everything is fake. They're gonna
Right.
believe everything or nothing.
Or nothing.
And the group that I game master believed everything, and the group that I played with believed nothing. So very vastly different. And that's what I like about this, is because there is a bit of both going on. Um,
Yeah.
so they both groups did go to the Elven uh, Consortium, and for scene 4. Uh, but yeah, I thought that was really neat when you have two different groups, and the game, the adventure offers choices, or even figuring out, hey, are we going to trust this person, or are we not going to trust this, and different groups come up with completely different ways of
Mhm.
getting through it, which I thought was pretty cool. So they kind of assume, whether or not they're working with Morgana, that they need to go to the Elven Consortium, where they can finally discover who is supplying the demons to the Fontenay monks. So they get to the building, and there's some part of, hey, how are they getting into the building? What are they doing once they're in the building? I was able to find a pretty cool combat map that fit it, and even with the little surprise at the end, it had a shape that fit the token. So when I dropped the big token down, it like looked like it was made for that, which was, I thought, pretty fun. But what were your thoughts on visiting this office building, and with your Storm Knights wanting to take this chip and put it in the computer?
I'm looking at it again now, and it's like DN20 stealth test, DN16 strength test, or DN16 persuasion, and I have no memory of how they actually infiltrated, but I know they did. And I think it might have had something to do with all these psychic abilities. Let me
Mm-hmm.
just see what we got here. Nope, probably not. Pyrokinesis is not going to do it. Okay. Um, but I know there was some hacking involved. So all I remember. Oh wait, when in doubt, it was probably due to a mistaken identity card.
Ah.
That's usually how these things go. But they got in without any huge issues. Oh, I believe that's it. They somehow their hatred of those Skull Kings,
Uh-huh.
they somehow started a gang war at the bottom, and like there was some big like distraction and that required the Elven Consortium security to come out, and then they just snuck in, I think, with a card or something, and hacked the surveillance. But they got up to the office, and I too had found a big, cool map for the office,
Hmm.
right? So this is where the director's office is. And they got in there, and they see a computer, so immediately the guy runs for the computer, and that's when the wall folds down and you see the director is actually a freaking dragon and he's a cyber dragon.
Cyber Dragon.
Yeah, was who's on the cover of the adventure. So I mean you should be expecting it at some point. So he starts talking to them and they're like, oh man, are we gonna fight or are we talking? And they decided just to start fighting.
Hmm.
So they start fighting, and as the battle is going, the Nodder just sort of like runs to the computers and because he's got a 20 before rolling, he's just like immediately getting everything. Eventually, there's an alarm that goes off that says that the Hellmouth is being attacked. And so this is when Morgana's ruse is basically exposed, that she was just doing this to get and ironically the players made it even better for her by causing that
Hmm.
distraction, which used even more Elven Consortium security. So the Hellmouth was kind of undefended, and she's had a whole bunch of forces, like a crazy amount of forces
Hmm.
when you get to that scene, attack the Hellmouth. So that attack is going on now, and the players realize it at this point that they were played, and basically the director flies off,
Hmm.
he gets away, you know, um, and they are stuck at the top of the building. There's a giant hole in the side because he just smashed out the window basically and flew off. And then they realize, okay, well, I was like, you can either follow him and try to finish him off or head to the Hellmouth. You don't really have time to do both. So they let him go and they decided to go to the Hellmouth. And so they raced there, and that's the next scene. But yeah, so the director survived canon in my campaign, at least.
So in mine, the one that I game mastered, again, that was the group that completely believed Morgana,
Mhm.
and they were just like, okay, so they go there to insert the chip, and the big map I had, I remember it having like a big round aquarium. So I had that like in the office, and then I think I had that lift up into the ceiling to reveal the director there, which
Mm.
was pretty cool because his big round token filled that whole area.
Yeah.
And then they fought him. He did the fly away thing, but that group. And there's the warning systems, warning Hellmouth contamination system failure, blah blah blah, and the I think the director goes off and for whatever reason starts like breathing fire on various places or something, or he's flying off, and then
Yeah, he's going after Morgana.
yeah, but it was like, do you chase him or do you go to the Hellmouth? And that group decided to chase him,
Oh, okay.
and they were like, the mix zone can do what the mix zone wants to do with the Hellmouth. We need to take out the director. That was like that's what they firmly believed, and they caught up to him near a cathedral, and I think that's when I had even it might not be in here, but I had the director start breathing fire at in the cathedral and setting it on flame, and then I had a DSR where they're trying to both set out the flame plus fight the director, and then when they were done, they're just like, "Bye, mix zone."
Sucks for you guys.
bye. It's like kill the. I guess we're bleeding into scene 5, but in scene 5, hell breaks loose. It is, one section is kill the dragon, the other section is stop the breach. That group definitely went for the kill the dragon. The other group, which completely did not believe Morgana or whatever, as soon as the hell mouth, thing came up, they were like, she's going to let demons out. We need to go stop this. And then that group went to stop the breach. So again, very different choices, and it goes along with one of the concept of Torg Eternities, which is Storm Knights can do anything, but they can't do everything. So your
Mhm.
Storm Knights, with the way possibilities and everything are set up, they can win. It's just sometimes they have a choice of which win do they take. So the one group I had took the we for whatever reason they just really didn't like the Elven Consortium and were like, we need to take out the director, or maybe it was even like he's seen us or something. And the other group was like, we need to take out Morgana. So two different groups doing completely different things. And yes, the Morgana thing is they're minor demons, one per every 2 heroes. Ghouls, 2 per hero, and Morgana herself, who I think she had set herself up to appear to be a human, but was she a
But
techno demon? Or
she's
was she
human, isn't
just
she?
maybe she is. Maybe there were some differences that
A tall, curvaceous human woman with
woman.
prominent piercings.
Yeah, Thark'll do occult tech. So I want to say I don't know if it was me or the other game master might have had her be that as a
Just change
disguise,
it up.
and to change it up a little, and then made her a demon just to be different, which is fun, to
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my map, and at first I was like, oh my God, this is insane. But I realize now that afterwards I was just using this map to put all the sample tokens for every Thargold monster on
oh.
it. So it just has like two of every creature in the threat section on it.
Ah.
But I found like I was using, I think I took a bunch of thralls because I have a bunch of Morgana thralls here too.
Mm-hmm.
So there was ghouls, minor demons, and thralls. I think what I did was because they kind of took their time to get over there.
Mm-hmm.
That the battle had basically gone for a while, and they had taken more forces over. So when they got there, there was a lot more to fight, and they did. And I can't. Oh, is that it? Yeah, there's Morgana's token with a big X through it. So yeah, they took her out. Um, so she didn't escape, but the director escaped. They did close the door relatively handedly again because they had a nodder with a computers of 20. So
Mm-hmm.
he was able to do the DSR relatively quickly to seal the gate because stop minor demon reinforcements from coming in, and then they were eventually able to stem the bleeding and take out everyone who was there. And then, well, I guess we'll keep that for the conclusion. But they sealed the Hellmouth again so that the fine folks of Calais didn't have to worry about it. Because my players actually took like I said, they took a liking to Calais, so they didn't. There was a discussion of
Mm-hmm.
let's just leave this to the Cyber Pope and it's his problem. And in
Right.
fact, it will probably use up his resources to try to clean it up. But then they figured he probably wouldn't even bother cleaning it up because it's a mixed zone. So they wanted to help people, and I believe the Tharcold character Ray felt bad because she was the one that trusted Morgana because they were fellow thralls,
Mm-hmm.
but ex thralls. Um, so they wanted to actually save the city, so they did that and they resealed it and saved the day. And I should mention, found the information on the computers back at the Elven Consortium
Hmm.
about where the final delivery of tubes full of demons was made to. So they did have the information on where to go next.
Nice, nice. Yeah, like I said, the my one group just went to the Dragon. I did look; it was a theater. I just remember there being seats high. I was thinking
Mhm.
cathedral, but it was a theater, and I had it as a DSR slash because I just had the Dragon breathing fire and setting things on fire, and they were trying to put it out, save people that were in there, just compounding some things so it wasn't just a straight out slugfest with the cyber um, dragon. The other group again, they did go to stop the Hellmouth. I do know that I was using roll 20 and I didn't know which one my players would do, so I ended up making both scenes
Yep.
and had them ready, and they chose to go after the dragon. But then basically the information that they get leads them to travel onward to Barcelona, and it says the mystery grows deeper, and their sidetrack to Calais only seem to widen the conspiracy further. Um, the group that I game mastered again after each act, they wrote up a kind of a mission brief and sent it
Nice.
to the inspector.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Because this one doesn't even really mention what Destine does, right?
Right. So they did that. They were even like on point of this is what we're gonna do. I still hear you, but I you're froze on my
You
screen.
you froze for me for a bit too, and then you just started up again.
Okay, so if you're listening, you're not
Well,
noticing anything, but if you are watching, then it might be
there we go.
frozen. But
Yeah,
with
you're freezing and then unfreezing, and it's going back and forth.
okay, so that's just kind of weird. It's probably one of the our communication platform. But
Sunspots.
I will keep recording, and you can just look at our
Yeah,
freeze frames going. Um, but your overall impression of this act, what
I
would?
think this act was shorter than some
Mhm.
of the others.
Yeah, it's taken
Some of
us
the
one episode instead of two.
yeah, some of the scenes are kind of just like half scenes. So it all went by pretty quick, but it is one of the more memorable ones, I feel, because the whole Calais mixed zone is a very cool idea and kind of shows you what how the different mixed zones can work. But and leaves some threads dangling, but I think it played through quick too.
Hmm.
So it was also like one nice because I didn't have a giant gang slog.
Right.
uh so it was like one nice quick act, that we could actually do in one session, I think. So it was nicely contained in our memory that way, where sometimes it takes multiple weeks and you might have to skip a week in between or something,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of what are we doing, but this was like all one piece. So I really liked it. The dragon was obviously a big hit when he comes out. People are like, ah. So it has a lot of cool things in it. This is a good one.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I also think that it was nice, even though there is definitely a reason to go there and a reason, you learn why you're leaving. It is the self-contained kind of in
Yeah.
the mixed zone area, and again, my group that I game mastered over were just like, let's let the mixed zone burn,
Right. Yeah.
because they had the opposite, I think, feeling during it. They were like, we don't like this zone at all. We don't like this place. So your different Storm Knights can have different
Yeah,
thoughts.
different players. Like my players love Tharcold and Pan Pacifica, which I think is different than a lot of other groups.
Right. So we'll go ahead and wrap that up. We'll probably take another break, even though it wasn't 2 episodes. We did get through the act, so we'll probably do Vitality perks
All
continue
right.
that next time. But until then, you can write us at torg@dcd@gmail.com. Again, send us your questions, your comments, etc. And until next time, we hope you have fun in your own Cosmverse.
If you
Bye.
can't see, I'm waving. Okay.